Welcome to your unfiltered guide to navigating the workplace as a Black woman, the Black Womaning in Corporate America podcast with your host, Nicole S. Palmer. I am the editor-in-chief and founding partner of Delnick Media, an independent publishing company that amplifies underrepresented and marginalized voices. This podcast was inspired by my best-selling book, Playing the Game While Black Womaning in Corporate America. Let's get into it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Black Womaning in Corporate America. Super excited because we have our first official guest on the show. Whoop, whoop, whoop. That is so exciting. Okay. So yeah, we're doing the thing over here in Black Women in Corporate America, and we're super excited to bring today none other than Crystal Jones. She is phenomenal. She's a speaker. She is all of the things, but let me allow her to tell you about who she is. So Crystal, please take it away.
Thank you, Nicole, for having me. I am Crystal Jones, and AKA Coach CJ, and I am founder of the second season. Second season celebrates your next chapter in career or business. And along with that, I'm a communication strategist. So my background is in corporate communications, and I'm a communications instructor. With second season, again, I'm a career coach. So nice. I wear lots of hats.
Hey, look, that is how we roll over here. So I get it. Like, we are the president and the client. So yes, absolutely. That's amazing. So I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, as one of the things I love to hear about is an origin story. I love me a good origin story. So tell me all about your origin story, Crystal.
Well, working in the corporate world for many years in communications roles, I struggled with imposter syndrome throughout my journey. And even as a career coach, I struggle with imposter syndrome. And as a coach, I have a coach. Having the opportunity to talk through my challenges with my coach allowed me to really think through where I've started and where I continue to have challenges in terms of imposter syndrome. And so I thought it would be valuable to share my story with others because I am my own client. I get my clients who continue to struggle with imposter syndrome as professionals, but also as entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs that are successful also have a desire to do more. And so I coach them through that. But as I listen to other people, especially women, there's a lot of common threads. And so I want to be able to encourage others as I encourage myself, as I encourage my clients on this growth journey.
Absolutely. And, you mentioned that you've worked with entrepreneurs and several classes of folks in the work that you do. So tell me a little bit more about where do you find most women come to you? Like, at what stage do your clients come to you?
I typically work with mid-career professionals and early stage entrepreneurs because this is the analogy I like to give. It's like, what kind of entrepreneur can I help, right? Really someone that's just getting started. A baker, all they know is how to bake, right? They just want to bake the best cookies, bake the best cakes, but they might not know how to articulate their goals and how to come up with a strategic plan to execute their vision. So I help them through that, right? I lend a little bit of my background in business. So it's career coaching with the twist of consulting is what I do.
And of course, now I want a cookie.
Exactly.
Concept it out. That's fantastic. And so I'm also curious about the name of your consulting firm. What's the story behind that? What was the inspiration?
You know what? I turned 40 and I felt like the first 40 years of my life was a season and the second 40 would be my second season. It's like, what are the next 40 years going to look like? So that's really where the name second season comes into play.
I love that.
And so, it's real. It's personal to me. Yes. And so I just want to be able to help people in their next chapter. What is the next season in career or business for you? That's where second season comes from.
Okay. Yes. I love that. I love all of that. Yes. Thank you very much.
Yes. And yes.
And I mean, I totally relate to that because now in where I am today, I used to be at a stage where it's like even saying that I was in the 40s was like, I don't want people to know that. And now it's like, here it is. I'm 45,
We come.
glorious 45. I've heard someone say, which I
Yeah.
love. So yes, embracing that. And I love that concept behind that, like your second act almost. Like, what
Your
is that going
second
to look
act.
like for you?
Yeah.
That is phenomenal. Tell me, as you're, working as an entrepreneur and you have this consulting firm, one of the things with Black women in corporate America is that the struggle can be real sometimes
Yes.
and the challenges very much. So tell me perhaps about an instance during your career, whether it was on the consulting side or on the corporate side, where you especially felt some of those challenges, and what were they? Maybe just give me one example.
We have the tendency as Black professionals, Black women namely,
Mhm.
but maybe men too, as working in the corporate world, but even as entrepreneurs, because we have no one else to lean on sometimes,
Yeah.
right? It's just us. But overworking is a huge challenge. I was having a conversation with a friend recently, and she said, you're constantly adding onto your plate. You're not doing enough to take away. But in my corporate life, I really had a problem with saying no. And we have the tendency as imposters to
Oh,
overwork because we want to make sure other people know that we belong. We want
yes.
other people to know our value no matter what. So we
Yep.
have the tendency not to ask for help. Yes. And we have
100%.
yeah. And we say yes to everything and not enough no's. We don't know how to set healthy boundaries. We're still working on our vacation time. So this really caught up to me several years ago. I'm working. My 10-year-old comes into my office. She says to me, Mom, I'm worried about your mental health. My 10-year-old said this
From
to
the
me.
mouths of babes. My gosh.
That was an eye opener. It was an eye opener. I said, I have to do something different. And so I started to make changes and really prioritizing self-care, prioritizing my time with my family and my loved ones, and really trying really hard to prioritize me.
Yeah.
And so that could be working out or taking more breaks, things like that. But the point is, as we have these challenges working in corporate or working for ourselves, we need to learn how to set those healthy boundaries.
Yes. And I mean, I hear this said all the time where no is a full sentence. And I definitely am trying to embrace that more, because I do feel like sometimes I may not do that as often as I should. We're just realizing that you can say no and it's okay. And you don't have to say anything else. It's full stop.
And there's so much more we can do besides just saying no, because sometimes we
Yeah.
can't, right? But maybe
Right.
it's delegating. Maybe it's
Yeah.
asking for help. And so discovering what makes the most sense for you. I realized last year I approached my first full year as an entrepreneur, I could not do everything. I needed
No.
help. And so this year I've really been trying to search out, what do I need to start delegating? Do I need an assistant? Do I need
Yep.
a PR manager? Do I need a graphic designer? Because I was my web designer, my social media manager, my own executive assistant. I was doing everything and I was burnt
Yeah.
out. I was burnt out in my corporate world, my corporate life. And now I'm burnt out as an entrepreneur, right? And so now I am trying to find those healthy boundaries. And that's just what I want to encourage others to do well. Figure out what's going to work best for you. Is know what you need to do? Is delegating what you need to do? Is maybe taking more breaks throughout the day, just what you need to get through, meditating, etc. So there's lots of ways to set healthy boundaries. You just have to figure out what makes the most sense.
Yeah, and that resonates so much for me, because I am at that point where I do feel like I'm doing all of the things, and it's you sometimes feel like, well, I can, so therefore I should. Really, not necessarily.
Yes.
So trying to find that balance, I'm definitely getting to that point where I'm pushing away some more, delegating out, and not having everything fall on my plate. But it is a daily practice.
It is. The struggle is real every single day you wake up in the
Yes.
morning. I like
Yes.
that you said, I can do everything, but should I do everything? Yeah.
That's always the question. And I think
Mhm.
to your point, because typically what I find Black women in this space, when they're entrepreneurs, they're overachieving, right? And so you have this innate reflex or habit of saying, I should do all of the things. But no, that's what burnt you out in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. And that's probably one of the things that we struggle with as Black women in our corporate lives the most.
Okay.
And I would say one of the other things that I struggled with was self-sabotage. And so I would talk myself out of things just so that somebody else wasn't saying no. It's like, let me say no first. So I
Yeah.
didn't go for the next role, or I put it off and I gave myself an excuse of why it didn't make the most sense when I was fully capable, fully competent, fully qualified. So staying in roles longer than what I should have. And that just feeds into that imposter syndrome as well.
I feel like someone slipped you my diary so that you have
Uh-oh.
like the talking point so you keep on, because I'm like, ooh, she's a little bit stepping on my toes there, a little bit.
We all have such similar stories if we really get down to
Yes.
the root.
Yeah.
70% of professionals, especially high achieving women,
Mm-hmm.
struggle with imposter syndrome. Yeah.
That's a big number.
Staggering.
It's a staggering number. And I think to your point, I mean, you see all these there's all these takes, these hot takes on imposter syndrome. Well, it's not really a thing and it doesn't exist. It's the
The thing.
patriarchy. It's all these things. I'm like, well, but it does.
No.
I mean, it exists.
Yeah.
There are different levels, I think, to it, different layers. And I love that you focus specifically on that because there are so many of us telling ourselves no. Like we don't even give ourselves the chance. So, and it's so disheartening because I did that the bulk of my corporate career. Like that was, I was rejecting myself, like almost as a defense mechanism because you tell
Yeah.
yourself, well, I can't be rejected if I don't ask or if I don't
Right.
try. I'm fine. I should be here. This is where I belong. I'm probably not ready. And I think that applies to our regular lives as well. We tell ourselves no because like it's safer.
Safe.
Like, is it
Yes.
happier though?
No, we're not happier. And that's one of the rewards, I would say, of learning how to fresh that inner critic is you're really free from those imposter type thoughts. Once you can free yourself, even for a little bit before you expose yourself to the next opportunity, because the more we expose ourselves to new opportunities, we're going to be uncomfortable, and that's okay. We're going to be afraid, and that's okay. Fear is a natural reaction. So it's fine to be afraid. We just can't stay there because then that's what keeps us from progress.
Yes, absolutely. And I so appreciate the work that you're doing in this space because it is so needed. And I think that sometimes just to that whole idea of saying no, we talk ourselves out of it because we think there's so many other people already doing it. Like, what am I bringing? Why should I do this? And what would you say to somebody who's like saying, well, no, well, there's already like you throw a penny and there's like 10 different people doing this. Why should I do that?
I'll tell you what someone said to me at the top of the year, because even as passionate as I am about doing this work, right? I said, what? I'm going to hold off on speaking. Don't think that I'm ready. I don't think there's room for me at the table. And my PR manager says to me, but nobody has your story.
See?
No one can tell your story the way you can tell your story. And that reinvigorated me. I'm like, yeah, you're right. So here I am with Nicole today, sharing a bit of my story. So no one can tell your story the way you can tell your story. The market might be saturated, but there's always room for you.
Yes, that is gold right there. You need to put that on a t-shirt.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, of course. I mean, and I think to your point, that's something that is why I stepped outside of my comfort zone. Here I am. I'm like, I wrote a book and then I said, I'm going to also do a podcast. I mean, there's podcasts everywhere. Sure. But are there any like this?
No.
Because there's only one me. Right.
Yep.
And that's what people need to take away from that. And to be uncomfortable, to stretch themselves past their comfort zone, because that's where the magic happens, I think.
Yeah. Your voice is valuable. No one can offer what you can offer. Your gifts, your talents, and your abilities, they belong to you, right? They belong to you specifically. So use them. Own it.
Yeah. And I think also we have to keep in mind that there is an audience for all of us. And so I might be talking about the same thing as someone else, but I don't talk about it the same way as someone else. My
And you're going to talk
perspective,
about it differently, right?
exactly, right? I'm a little goof, might throw in a little couple of corny jokes. And
That's
some
how
people
I
like
feel.
that.
I don't know how to be anybody else. I only know how to be me. So that's
Yes.
it.
And there's like, that's what I love about it. There's an audience out there for all of us, for each of us. And so we do ourselves a disservice when we don't step outside. I had actually the other day, I think it was Lovey Ajayi Jones that said something along the lines of, the reason why someone else can't complete their assignment is because you haven't completed yours.
Ooh,
And I was
love
like,
that.
chills. And so I love that because it's so true. I think sometimes we forget that we can be the domino that someone else is waiting on to get to where they need to get to, right?
It's deep too. I like it.
So I really just even talking to you, it's just like so energizing because I'll be honest, like this is like, we made it clear, you're my first guest. And so I'm nervous, like I'm all of the things. And then just having you on, your personality, your energy is it's so amazing. And it's making me feel good. Like, okay.
It makes me feel comfortable too. Cause this is all new to me as well. Like we're only in March, right?
Yeah.
And so the year is still kind of fresh. We're still challenging and pushing through. We're still pushing through our Q1 milestone. That's what I call it. Our Q1 milestones. We're still pushing through them. And so we're still early in the year. There's still a whole lot of year left.
Yes, there is. And to think that, and that's the other thing too that I love what you're mentioning is like, you have to take stock of what you've done so far. And I mean, the year's barely baked. And when I stepped out and said, I'm going to write this book, and I wrote the book, and then like, I'm going to also do a podcast. And then I thought to myself, I have this goal, and oh my goodness, how much have I accomplished? No, look at how much you have accomplished. You have to
and your Yahoo article, it's too.
Thank you. A little bit. It's exciting. Yeah. So to your point, it's just, I think that what makes it so amazing is that as long as you keep showing up, and that's what the stories that I love telling here is people who are betting on themselves. To me, you're the epitome of betting on yourself, right? And that's that's who I want to surround myself with. And this is the platform for that. So I couldn't have picked a better first guest, I think, personally speaking.
Thank you. That means a lot.
So I'm so excited that you came on here. So let's talk a little bit more about the work that you do. Like, is there like a specific program that people follow? Give us a little bit more detail on.
Well, I try to post pretty regularly on my social. I'm really involved in my LinkedIn. So / for Crystal Jones on LinkedIn.
Nice.
And I do a few different things. Like I do have a YouTube channel. I post on there pretty regularly. One thing I'll plug about that, I guess I would say, is that my show is Work Your Network. And I really believe in tapping into your network for opportunities, for conversation, of course, but your network has so much free knowledge. I connect with people and I'm like, hey, do you want to just have a chat?
Yeah.
And just in the conversation, they tell me things that I need to know. Go to this website, talk to this person. Maybe you should try this out. I've heard about this program. And it's just leads me to the next thing, that helps me on my journey as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest lesson I've learned in the last year. Is that my network is so valuable. So whether you're in your corporate world, right? You're still in your corporate environment, or whether you're an entrepreneur, what you need, I would say, is probably within your network. Whether it's advice, whether it's a resource, whether it's the next opportunity. And we're all looking for new opportunity in one way or the other. We're in a very precarious job market, right?
Well, we are.
And so I would also encourage others to not be afraid. You're fully capable right now. Don't put off your goal or your dreams. And I talk a lot about that on my social. I share a lot about that. Don't wait till tomorrow. Start today. You don't need another license. You don't need another certification. You don't need another degree. We tell ourselves this. I do this all the time. I was looking at doctorate programs last week. Okay. I'm talking to myself here. We don't need to wait until we have another thing under our belt to tell ourselves that we're qualified. You're qualified.
Yes,
so do
more
it.
than overqualified.
overqualified. You're competent right now. Okay?
Absolutely. Today's Spotlight is brought to you by Crystal Jones, career coach, communication strategist, and founder of thesecondseason.com. Crystal is passionate about helping professionals conquer imposter syndrome and own their success with confidence. Crystal shares her own journey of self-doubt and resilience, offering practical tools to help others recognize their value and embrace challenges. Through her inspiring talks and transformative workshops, Crystal equips individuals and teams with the tools to communicate authentically, build confidence, and silence their inner critic. You can learn more about her work at thesecondseason.com and follow her on LinkedIn for Crystal Jones, Instagram at The Second Season, and YouTube at The Second Season Consulting for more insights and inspiration.
If you have nothing else, you have your God-given gifts. So you tap into those gifts.
Yes.
I will tell you this. The other thing that's part of my story as a communications professional, I didn't go to school for that. I'm exercising my God-given gift as a writer to work in that space.
Okay. Yes.
And I have been doing that for nearly 20 years.
There you go. Yes, absolutely. I think that is so powerful. And that you go maybe spend another hour just talking on that. Okay. Because yes, I 100% agree and believe in that. And one of the things I talk about is this idea of empowerment. And this is something I only learned going to UNC because I did my master's in public health there. And one of the things they taught us is about this notion of empowerment, how it's actually a misnomer. Because when we say we're going to empower someone, we're implying they have no power.
No.
But the truth of the matter is that we all do have power. And so I've tried to make it a habit to say that I'm not here to empower you because that's not, you have power. I'm here to help you tap into it.
I love that. Thank you.
You know, and I think that's exactly what you're doing. That's exactly what you're saying is that, you know, you have everything you need is already inside. Like you have all the equipment is already there. It's not faulty. It's not broken.
The tool.
Okay. The only thing that needs to change is the mindset. And that's really the journey that I've been on. It's just changing my mindset from realizing that I am it. I'm it. I'm that girl. That's what my publicist told me. I'm like, yeah, I'm that girl. So I have to start reminding myself of that. And it's so easy to not, because I even find myself saying little old me, like, and she was like, there is nothing little about you.
I love that, Nicole. Yeah.
So I'm just trying to like spread the gospel and let people know, like, we are out here and, you know, you need to bet on yourself. And this is really what it's all about. And that's why your story resonated so much with me, because I do believe that 99% of the time, we would get the thing if we just tried.
Yeah. You have to just get started. That's what I told myself last year. I'm afraid. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to make some mistakes, but at least I'm going to start doing something. Let me just publish my website and then I'll just do the next thing after that. Then I'll start a social media. And I might do it wrong, but at least I can check that off my box, right? And then I'm going to get on LinkedIn. It's like just make the steps, do it wrong, fix it, and keep moving. Yeah.
That's really interesting that you said that, because I actually shared a post today. I'm telling you, we didn't plan this, guys, I promise. But I shared a post on my LinkedIn on the showcase page, Black Women in Corporate America. And the post says, big or small, soar or fall, just keep moving.
Soar or fall, yes.
So, like, I'm telling you, we're vibing.
That's it. Yes.
So it's really about that forward momentum. And I do believe that, like, you're not going to get anywhere. Don't move. At least if you move, you might fall, but at least you move. Like you learned a lesson. Like, okay, we're not going to do that again. But if you just sit there.
This is just what I talk about on my social. I shared a post recently about grace. Grace allows us to build that muscle of just trying again. Just try again. Bounce back. Give yourself grace.
Yeah,
absolutely. Just try. And That's all I'm doing, Nicole. I'm just trying.
We're trying together.
I'm just
We're trying
trying
together,
every
and
day.
see what happens. I agree. And of course, we're joking, guys, but obviously there's some strategy for things. But at the end of the day, all we're doing is trying. I didn't have a big publisher. I published myself. I said, I know how to publish. I have a background in publishing. This notion, and this is something that my mother talks about, like, you don't understand the concept of no. And in a good way, when it comes to, if someone says, oh, you can't do that.
What do you mean?
Hold, please. Hold my sparkling beverage while I do it. Yeah, like, watch me, okay?
I have to say that now. I love it. I'm done. Hold my sparkling beverage while I crush this.
How dare you?
Yes.
So, yeah, that has been the story of my life. So I didn't have an agent, but I was like, look, I got this book. I'm publishing. Like, you're not going to tell me I'm not publishing. Of course I am. And then that's really, I think, what we have to get out of the mindset, because we look at all these big time people. We're like, oh my gosh, they're human. They're human just like us. And all they're doing is trying to.
They started somewhere.
Probably.
They started somewhere, right?
Exactly. So I'm having a time. I'm telling you, this has been fantastic. Like, I'm having such a blast. Like, if
Me too.
I didn't have to edit this would go out tomorrow. I need people to know about this. Like, you know, like, she's that girl too.
Hey.
So this has been so energizing for me. And to be very honest with you, you know, because usually I'm just like a little solo person. I'm like, here are my thoughts. Here's me speaking off the cuff. But man, I need to do this more often. You have to come back.
We'll definitely come this.
Good. So we're not going to let fear get in the way.
No.
We're just gonna really push through that. We're gonna keep trying.
Crush that inner critic, like, that creeps up.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a little bit of work. I don't like to say we have to reframe our mindset. I say that we need to try to reprogram in some aspects. And reprogramming takes work. It's not like a quick fix or the switch of a light bulb to reframe your mindset, but to actually reprogram our thoughts and our feelings and our perspective so that we can see opportunity through new lenses. It takes a little bit of work. And I'm on that journey.
Yes, we are both. I think I saw you down the road. Yes.
Yes.
We're on the same path together over there.
Yeah, we're on the same path together.
So one of the things I talk about, I'm put you on the spot a little bit, but one of the things I talk about is the unspoken rules of corporate America. And I actually came up with 7 rules that are, to me, universal. And so in your journey as the queen of imposter syndrome and really kind of the stuff, hey, look, just accept it, okay? I've crowned you, just deal with it. So in your journey, okay, what, from your perspective, is one unspoken rule that maybe people don't talk about that you have seen come up time and again in the work that you've done?
Boy, that's a heavy one.
Oh, it could be more than one, but, you know.
I can say that as Black women in corporate here, okay, it's not necessarily my story, but word on the street is that we don't always support one another.
Oh, girl. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes.
And it is challenging enough for us to come into the office and overwork. So that means for overworking, we're not getting paid as much. Because then we're not making $60 an hour. No. We're making $30 an hour because we're overworking. I'm going to stop there. But we're not supporting one another as Black women in the office. We see them as our competition. We should be rallying together, okay? Because we already have enough pressure from our colleagues who don't see us as their equal. Yes, we already have enough that we're working through in terms of using our voice.
Yeah.
And trying to hold on to our seat at the table. That we're not uplifting each other. We're not teaching one another. We're not trying to pull the other person up. And that's what we really need to work on, right? Our fellow Black women in corporate are losing their jobs right now. We're losing our positions. We're losing our seats at the table. we're losing our voice. And so if we have the opportunity, we need to hold onto each other's hand. This is the time. If there was never another time, okay, we need to be rallying together so that we represent. Because right now you're representing. That's just real talk. If you are still in corporate, you are literally representing right now. I am one of the ones that was part of the 100,000+ folks let go because of the large, layoffs in the cyber tech community. And so that was just the first layoff group. Now we've got other people in other industries that have been in another wave. And so if you're still in the game, be nice, smile, send an email, send a Slack. Send the teams, girl. I got you what you need. How can I help you?
Okay.
Let's go to lunch. Let's talk about this thing. Yeah.
Y'all, we didn't plan this. She is on fire today. I promise y'all this is completely unscripted, but she is.
And I don't usually go there. That's not my thing. I don't go there, but
I'm so glad
we going there today.
Yes, we are, because girl, let me tell you about rule number 4 in my book, Playing the Game While Black Women in Corporate America. There can only be one. That's rule 4. And you coming in here and just like, and by the way, yes, it is such a thing. And the reason why this is so tough, and I talk about that, is I call it the Highlander mentality. And I'm showing my age because I was a child of like the 80s, even though I was technically born in 79.
Come on now.
So there's this show. I don't know if you know the show, but I grew up watching Highlander.
I'm an 80s baby. I know about Highlander. Thank you.
You know what I'm talking about. What was the whole concept? There can only be one. Right. And that's literally what we see playing out amongst each other. And it's so heartbreaking and so disheartening. And I'm so glad, because sometimes you feel like, man, is it just me? Is it just me seeing the thing that I just did anybody else clock that but me? So I'm so glad you brought that up, because we really need to understand. And I spoke about that in my last episode. Like, this is a group project.
Yeah.
And if we would realize that, and I know we think that, oh no, I just need to get mine. I don't need to worry about anybody else. Ooh, girl.
Yeah.
No, that is not true.
So I'm not in corporate right now, but whoever is in corporate and you're a Black woman crushing it for all of us.
Yes.
Do it.
And help us along the way. Send the elevator back down, like they say. Don't leave it up there. We need to get up there too.
Yeah.
So yes, I fully agree. And I think even sadly, I've also seen this play out in the entrepreneur space, or even in the social media space, where you have these very, like much more successful Black individuals, Black females. Can I say that? I'm going to tiptoe a little bit tentatively. Out here in these streets, I'll just put it that way. And you look up to a lot of them, and sometimes you can, when you're starting out, you can idolize them. And so you have these ideas in your head, like, oh my goodness, like they must be amazing. And then you start peeling back the curtain and you're like, wait a minute. And so I've also seen it played out. It's almost like this Mean Girls Club, unfortunately. Yeah. And I've heard some people talk about it, and I've seen it happen. I try to stand by and just like be on the sidelines and like just eat my popcorn, because it happens to me too. And I'm not trying to catch anybody else's strings. It's really important that we talk about that, because I do believe that we don't amplify each other enough. I actually posted about that. Like, I wonder what could happen if we did, if we just started like lifting each other up and not, trying to like just take notes, just, oh, let me see what she's doing. Let me go ahead and copy this over here. What if we just started supporting and amplifying and crediting each other?
I love that. And being open, I'm an advocate for networking. And what good does it do you to have 1,500 connections on LinkedIn if you're not open to a conversation to someone who reaches out for a conversation?
Well,
yeah.
If
you're successful and someone says, hey, I'd like to meet you, do you mind if we have a virtual coffee together so I can just pick your brain, right? Entrepreneur to entrepreneur.
Wow.
How powerful would that be?
Yeah, and it's in very short supply, I find. I think more and more what we're seeing is a shift towards my time is money. And I don't disagree with that to a point, but I feel like there needs to be a balance, right?
I agree.
I think what always strikes me is I remember where I was and where I still am in a lot of ways. I'm still growing. I'm still building. And you should never forget where you started.
No.
Because we all started off small. We all started off at 0. And so to forget that once you get to once you get to a point, you feel like I've arrived. And so don't talk to me, talk to
We
here.
never just feel like we've arrived.
I never want to feel that way. And every time that I write an article and I get a new feature, it feels like the first time for me. I'm equally excited about Yahoo as I am about all of the other features I've gotten. It doesn't matter what the subscriber base is. I'm just excited to be out there and to be sharing, like to doing what I love and to seeing that it resonates with other people. That feeling should never go away for us, I don't think.
Yeah, I think that keeps you humble. Yeah.
Yes. And that's important because I think it's easy to forget. I could go on to talk to you for the rest of the day, but I know you have things to do and I have things to do, and we have to not pretend like we don't have other stuff going on. So what I would love for you to do, there are two things I would love for you to do. First, if there's one thing that you would want our listeners to take away from this conversation, what would it be?
You are capable, so start now. Whatever it is that you want to do, you are capable. Lean into your skills and your talents and your abilities and get started with one thing. If it's starting your website, if it's meeting someone for a cup of coffee and seeing if they'll mentor you, right? Just start somewhere, bump your head and keep going. That's really.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. Yes, guys. Simple, clear, powerful. You're capable. Start now. I love that. That is short and sweet. You guys can remember that, but if not, write it down. Okay. Don't forget that because I'm going to keep that in my mental Rolodex for sure. And so finally, if folks want to find you, where do they find you? Where are you at? Tell us about your social media handles. What is the contact information, the website? Give us the rundown because we want to be able to find you.
Okay, well, at the second season, so the ND season, and again, the second season on Instagram, and the second season consulting on YouTube.
Excellent. Well, guys, you have heard it here first ever invited guest, first episode. Like, I am super excited. Okay, yes.
Number one.
Okay, very much. We are doing the thing over here. We are trying together, and we tried and we got the first. Okay, here we go. Thank you so much, Crystal, for joining me. Crystal Jones of the second season consulting. Please find her all of the places. She's amazing. Obviously, you would benefit. Your timeline will thank you. Your feed, whatever you call it, will thank you by having her on there. Okay, so go ahead and follow her. Thank you so much, guys. Anything else you'd like to leave us with?
I'm good. Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you so much. And again, guys, if you haven't already, like, share, subscribe. Remember, please, we need the support. And if you found this episode amazing, which I know I sure did, go ahead and rate it 5 stars on Spotify, wherever you find your podcast, please, and help us keep going. Thanks, guys. We'll see you again next time around. Thanks for tuning in to Black Womaning in Corporate America, the podcast. If today's episode spoke to you, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, or submit a 5-star rating wherever you're listening. And don't forget to grab your copy of Playing the Game While Black Womaning in Corporate America, available now wherever books are sold. Until next time, take care.